And our next guest reveals which rival the Trump team is most concerned about. Joining us now is Rudy Giuliani, attorney for President Trump and former presidential candidate himself. Rudy, great to see you.
Nice to see you.
So is the president shaking in his boots? He doesn't wear boots. Shaking in his I don't know, toe shoes over Kamala Harris?
He's not shaking at all about Kamala Harris or any of them. I mean, the president realizes there's going to be a candidate. We don't know who it is. And they're going to have to make all these crazy charges. But I think he's pretty comfortable, and I am certainly, with the fact that they've all gone so far to the left. I mean, Kamala Harris is in favor of open borders. I don't know what kind of prosecutor she is if she's in favor of open borders. If you're in favor of open borders, you must be in favor of open doors in your house. Let everybody in. Let's not find out who they are or identify themselves. I mean, she's in favor of late-term abortion. Late term meaning the day before the baby is born. We can go on and on and on. High taxes. She does a little better job than some of them, like Warren and Bernie, of disguising herself as not quite as left-wing. But when you examine her positions, she's very, very left-wing. And I think she's a flavor of the month because Joe couldn't defend himself. It was kind of pathetic. I mean, she eviscerated him, and I thought it wasn't with very much. And I think we got a very, very big signal from Michelle. That was definitely calculated. You saw that. I mean, you pointed it out beautifully, but Michelle's a very smart woman, whatever else she is.
Yeah, I mean, Rudy, she could have said, I'm not taking sides here on the presidential contest, but we know Joe Biden very well. Joe and Jill were really close to us. We served with them for 8 years. Not a racist bone in his body.
Well, that's easy to say. Isn't that easy to say?
And she went out of her, I think she went out of her way, both of them, not to say that. I mean, but you don't hear peep out of Barack Obama unless it's some sideswipe at Trump without really mentioning him by name. But I found that to be, also I kind of found that to be graceless on the part of the Obamas.
Yeah. At a bare minimum, Biden is entitled to, he's not a racist. They know, and also he's not. Look, I have a lot of issues with Biden, including what appears to be a lot of corruption in China and Ukraine. You know, hundreds of millions one place, billions other place. While he's negotiating for America, his son is pulling down millions of dollars, and Joe is taking him there on Air Force Two. Come on. You know, if that were one of us, we'd be indicted by now. But I believe the Democrats aren't touching that yet because they're trying to take him out on his lack of competence. And they seem...
And Joe and Rudy, they seem very and surprisingly unprepared. They should have been prepared for incoming from someone they know is close with the Obamas.
Joe, I mean, look, let's face it. Joe's never been a good candidate. And I know he'll get really insulted, but he's not that bright. The president says that. It happens to be true. Everybody always says, oh, he's funny. He's Uncle Joe. Fact is, he's not the brightest bulb in the
he's
pack.
A backslapper type, and he's
a backslapper,
shoulder grabber.
And he's not that smart.
But Rudy, Jill spoke out tonight, and she's
the rest of these people are smart.
Yeah,
Obama's smart.
Yeah.
Michelle's very wicked smart, and they also realize he's not up to it, and they want to win. And I think they feel that Joe is going to self-implode at some point, and they want him out.
Well, Jill Biden spoke out tonight, and they were clearly stunned and ill-prepared for this attack. Let's watch.
Biggest surprise for you so far?
The biggest surprise, I think, was the debate. I think, I think probably Kamala was a little bit of a surprise. I think that's the biggest surprise so far.
Again, how are you not prepared for that? That's almost a disqualifying in and of itself.
Of course it is. I mean, if you're not prepared for Kamala, are you prepared for Kim Jong-un and Putin? And the people in China.
No, they made too much money in China.
Honestly, and honestly, Joe isn't prepared.
Yeah.
That's the sad truth about him.
All right, Rudy, we got a lot of other topics I want to get to because I think we destroyed that topic. I want to get to what Attorney General Barr said about Mueller's upcoming testimony next week. Watch.
I was disappointed to see him subpoenaed because I don't think that serves any purpose dragging Bob Mueller up if he, in fact, is going to stick to the report. It seems to me the only reason for doing that is to create some kind of public spectacle. And if Bob decides that he doesn't want to be subject to that, then the Department of Justice would certainly back him.
What do you make of those comments?
I think that, the Attorney General realizes this has gone way beyond what normally happens and way beyond the bounds of ethics and discussing the facts about somebody about whom you're not going to bring charges. I mean, a 400+ page report, a 10-minute sort of suggestive press conference, and now we're going to repeat it all with, this kind of glorified testimony. I think the Attorney General is very concerned about it. From a political point of view, I almost like it because I believe that the Republicans have a lot of good questions to ask Mueller that he's going to have a very hard time answering. And I think the net of this is going to be that people are going to have more questions about Mueller after it's over than before they go in. But I can see why the Attorney General, if I was in his position, I'd be very concerned about how this is really doing something terribly unethical that prosecutors are taught you never should do. You never talk about a case when you decline prosecution. Ever, ever, ever. Because it's
Rudy,
so
we're going
unfair.
we're going to get into this topic later on in the show, but I did want to get your take and thoughts on what's happening with Jeffrey Epstein. He pled not guilty today on charges of sex trafficking minors. I mean, breathtakingly hideous allegations. Did you know him, and did you have any interactions with him ever?
I don't believe so. I don't remember ever meeting him. His face looks a little familiar, but it may be because I've seen him on television. I can't imagine that I know him. His real close friend was Bill Clinton. I mean, he's the one who traveled on planes with him, went all over with him. I'm not saying that Bill Clinton was involved in any way, but he's the one he was really close to. So I can't imagine I ever had much to do with him. I don't recall ever having anything to do with him.
Yeah, and it looks like they're clearly after this Alex Acosta, Labor Secretary for the president, with that plea deal. Any thoughts on that tonight?
Well, my view as somebody charged with the things he's charged with is you throw the maximum penalty at him. I don't know what he decided as U.S. attorney. I don't want to second guess that, but my knee-jerk reaction to it is the guy should be in jail for a very long period of time. Given what I know publicly, and then I have to put in the caveat, everybody's presumed innocent.
One final thought, Rudy, or question. Nancy Pelosi spoke out today on the census citizenship question and made just an outrageous swipe, more than a swipe at the president. Watch.
This is about keeping, make America, his hat, make America white again. They want to make sure that certain people are counted. It's really disgraceful. And it's not what our founders had in mind. Who are we? What is America?
I don't know what's wrong with her. The question is, Nancy, whether you're a citizen. We have white citizens, black citizens. We have Hispanic citizens, Chinese. It's whether you're a citizen, Nancy.
But why did she say it, Rudy? Going back to my angle. This is by any means necessary to take out this president. They want to divide this country. They want to turn white against black, Hispanic against black, white against... I mean, it is a cynical, horrible strategy.
Every single thing that is done, whether it relates to anything like that or not, they will interpret that way. It's like a talking point they just repeat. There is nothing racial about asking someone whether they're a citizen. It's like, seeking identification before you vote. That's racial?
Well, she knows it. Yeah, but she knows it, and she's saying it anyway.
You have to produce identification to get on an airplane.
Yeah. Well, Nancy Pelosi's smart. She's doing this for a reason. They're worried about Trump gaining even 5 percentage points among African-American voters because of the great economic record he's had with African-Americans, criminal justice reform. I think they're panicked about that. Well, and so they want to divide this country on racial lines. I think it's disgusting. Everybody is doing better in this economy. Everybody.
The president, when he ran, in 16, said, "Take a chance on me. You can't do any worse."
Yeah.
And they're doing better than they've ever done. All of us.
Yeah. Rudy,
white,
we gotta
black,
go.
Hispanic, and particularly minorities.
We got to go, Rudy. Great,
right.
Great to see
Take
you
care.
as
See
always.
you soon.